In this video we're off out to the wreck of His Majesty's trawler Avanturine. Okay, so here we are then, out on the wreck of the Avanturine. So, how did this wreck come to be named Avanturine then? Well, how was it confirmed as the Avanturine?
Well, it was confirmed by brass lettering on the bows. I think there's a report somewhere saying it was named by a lantern which bared the name of Avanturine. But I've seen the lantern and it does not have the name on it. So it's named by the brass lettering on the bows. From what I understand, there's still some lettering left as it lays on its port side. As you're looking from the bows, underneath there's still a few letters there. They got Avant from it, and that just left the letters urine under the seabed.
And who found those letters then?
That was Roger Theobald. It's a great site. As you can see, it's only probably about a mile off a beachy head itself, due south. So it's quite close in. It's not desperately deep. Somewhere around 30 metres on a high water, and on a low. What have we got there, Saucy? Depth-wise? Hopefully somewhere around 26 metres. So a bit of bottom time. It's notoriously bad visibility here because you get all the water coming out the basin from Eastbourne, and swirling round here. You've got the overspills and races here, so it tends to be pretty poor visibility, but we're hoping today that we'll be all right.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah.
So what was this ship then?
It was a trawler, and it was requisitioned by the Admiralty for minesweeping duties.
Did it hit a mine?
No, it got torpedoed by an E-boat, and it must have been somewhere around midships by the looks of it. Absolutely devastating. I think it went down with all hands. It really is quite a dispersed site. I've spent quite a lot of time, quite a few years. I think last time we dived it was somewhere around 2008. So I've got quite a dispersed sketch. All the bits and pieces, the boiler, the stern, and other paraphernalia. Probably the engines are kicking about in there somewhere. So there's quite a lot, a hell of a lot of debris, and it just must have gone down, straight down as it was hit.
Yeah, I mean we dived it earlier today, didn't we? And looking at it, it looks like the hull has just been peeled back like a piece of paper. Must have been a massive explosion.
Got a picture of, which Robert probably put up, a picture of Lady Elsa, a sister ship. Yeah, it's a cracking wreck. There's some more line drawings. As we probably said when we were doing the Borneo video, it's built by Cook, Welton and Gemmell. So this is obviously a World War II loss, whereas Borneo was a World War I. I've got on my sketch, I've got the 12-pounder gun that's fallen off the bows with the muzzle pointing the wrong way. So sketchy. So the muzzle should be pointing directly at the bows. So when you drop off the bows, you'll have on muzzle and away you go. And that's about it. I can't think of anything else. And that's another fine mess you've got me into.
It's been a funny old day.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Well, just dropped down onto the bow of the ship. It's laying on its starboard side. Jamie did say it's laying on its port side, but it's not. It's laying on its starboard side. That's probably with the Kronenberg he's been drinking. That's the muzzle of the gun just coming into view there. The straight one, not the bent one. Then you go up and you can see the main part of the gun. Just come back to the bow. There's some railings there, so I'm guessing if you fell overboard you could climb up the side of the ship. There's some handrails on the top, some bollards there for tying up. That's swimming down the bottom where the keel is, and that's part of the hull plating that's just been peeled back. Like I was saying about the amount of damage that was done in the explosion. That's the anchor. This is a bit of footage that Jamie took on his helmet cam when he was diving on another occasion with another guy, Simon. Nice shot of the bow. This was later in the day. We dived the stern, so we were doing it on high water. We had some fresh water coming, so the visibility is much better. Yeah, we just dropped down over the back of this piece of wreckage and you'll see the propeller, and then you'll see part of the steering gear, the steering quadrant. It's all sticking up in the air. Then I'll try and explain a little bit as to why the Aventurine's ended up where it is. And then after that we're going to have a chat with the guy that actually discovered that it was the Aventurine, Roger Theobald. Aventurine was torpedoed and sunk by a German E-boat, with all hands lost in the early hours of the 1st of December 1943. A week before this though, the New Haven lifeboat was launched to go in search of Aventurine that had been reported aground off Cookmere Haven. There was a full southwesterly gale blowing and torrential rain. The lifeboat found Aventurine and made plans to drop her anchors and manoeuvre down the leeward side of the trawler. The lifeboat had run out about 40 fathoms of cable when suddenly the trawler appeared out of darkness, heading straight for the lifeboat. The coxswain of the lifeboat slammed his engines full astern, but a heavy sea swept the lifeboat right across the bows of the advancing Aventurine, and the trawler crashed into her port side amidships. The impact severely damaged the lifeboat, and one crew member, Mr. B. Clark, was lost overboard in the collision. His body was later found on the beach. Despite suffering severe damage, the lifeboat managed to limp back to New Haven, assisted by a Shoreham lifeboat escorting the Aventurine. A week later, the flotilla, led by His Majesty's trawler Floria, headed for Tilbury. The Aventurine was under tow by His Majesty's trawler Peter Carey when the flotilla came under attack from 2 German E-boats just off Beachy Head in the earlier hours of the 1st of December 1943. The Aventurine was being towed some 200 to 300 yards behind His Majesty's trawler Peter Carey when it was struck by a torpedo. The flotilla fired star shells into the sky and identified 2 E-boats. The flotilla opened up with a machine gun fire and the crew of the Peter Carey cut the Aventurine loose and all the crew were lost. The only body to be found after the sinking was the Avanturine skipper Edward Gillard, whose body was found on the beach days later. Rocking and rolling. Here we are with the man, the myth, the legend. And he's Roger Theobald. Yeah. So, all right, talk about the Avanturine first then. So, well, how did you know it was there to start with?
We looked on the wreck, on the chart, and it says wrecks on that area, and we thought it might be a good idea to dive that area. But someone said they'd been on it, just found a load of scrap and rubbish and stuff. So we went out and decided to try it, and there was a buoy on it, which was unbelievable. Straight down the buoy, dived on it, and all sorts of bits and pieces came up that day. And so marked it, and then started doing the circuit round it and trying to find what damage was done to it and everything. And as you know, it's halfway along, it's just blown to bits. And,
yeah, a huge debris field down there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's well battered, but all sorts of things. Really good tied up Mexican standoff with a conga right up in the front.
Oh, he used to live up in there, up
He
in the
used
bows,
to, right up in the bow, yeah. He won, by the way.
So what was your first impressions when you first saw the wreck then? What sort of condition was it in then?
It was in very good, the front end was in really good nick, where the gun had fell off. The circular bit that it sat on was about, well, still there, about 4 metres or so in front of it.
Yeah.
So that must have just fallen off as it turned as it sunk. But yeah, portholes on it and all sorts of things, all in very good condition.
Yeah, amazing. It's been amazing to see it like that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Apart from the back end. But
Yeah. So tell us how you found the, how you named it then. What named it?
well, I think Dwyer got that lantern, didn't he?
Well, I've seen the lantern, it doesn't have the name on it. I would have said it was more probably your lettering, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so, really. That was the only concrete. We never found a nameplate on it or anything like that.
No. So you found some on the port side, didn't you?
Didn't Alan get some drawings? Alan Knight get some drawings of it? Or was that the Lancer?
No, you got a load on the Lancer. I've got some book with the Cookwell and Gemmell who built that, and that's got all line drawings and stuff in it, and the sister ship Lady Elsa.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they built the Borneo as well.
Oh right.
Yeah. So it was quite a good thing.
So how did you get those letters off then?
It was just, I'd seen another wreck and it had raised brass letters on, and I thought, I just wonder if they're still there. And I looked on the top side of it and there were 2 or 3 still there. So I pulled those off and thought, well, the other lot must be around the other side. So I ended up in the V, right in the As I said earlier, urine's left down there. If you want to go down and find it, you want to dig a hole down here.
You also had a rope between the bows and the boiler at one point, didn't you?
Oh, we did. Yes.
Across the debris field.
Yeah, across the debris field and everything.
Because the stern's somewhere around about away from the bows. It's a long stretch, isn't it? Yeah, and there's quite a lot of other debris around here. I remember seeing sort of like winch gear, but I don't ever remember seeing anything that looked like an engine, because that's got to be there somewhere, hasn't it? No. And that's not with the stern, is it?
No, certainly not.
No.
And we assumed the propeller we found on it was that.
Yeah, it's quite big, the back end, isn't it?
I never found any letters on it or anything.
No.
I suppose if you'd had to scratch about, we might have found some numbers.
Yeah, there's nothing on that nose cone that Smithy got, was there?
Pete bought off, no.
No.
But we would have. That was the one day we had permission to blow that off. We'd actually got the explosive. I've done the 2 explosives courses.
I don't know if this should be on video, but
well, we'll have it on there. But we can cut that bit off.
No, it was all done through Sussex Police. It was all done totally legally.
it's different days.
It was different days, and yeah.
But we didn't want to tell everybody.
The explosive was held by Chris Lawrence in a proper, explosive safe.
The vicar, Chris Lawrence.
That's the man. Up in Fort Halstead, and we had permission to take it down to New Haven on that day, but the weather was absolutely awful. storm blew up and all the rest of it, so we just abandoned it and it was sent back to the
I
manufacturer.
was going to say if you still got it.
No. But
Come in
all
handy.
done legally.
Anybody else find anything on there that you know of, or interesting pieces, bits and pieces that you saw come up, or just lots of random brassy pieces?
Greg Casala managed to drop. I found a case of shells, the 4-inch big one, an oak box with all the brass banding on it.
Oh yeah.
And I'd left him up the top, and I sent it up on the bag, so he managed to drop it.
Oh no.
So, not only did I lose all my lifting bags, but a nice, well, never mind.
10 in a box, weren't there?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I might have been, I'm not sure, but they were a fair size. But all sorts of other things, and then we ended up finding the Orlicon, which, when you look up the Avanturine, the only arms it had on it was supposed to be the 4-inch gun on the front.
Yeah, it was listed with that, was it? I've got another book that does.
Again, my son's got in touch with a guy who used to work for Orlicon, and the numbers on that were issued to a German boat. So it was sold to Germany.
Oh, right.
So I don't know whether something else German might have been sunk there. The boat
because there's that big stand, isn't there, that it probably would have gone on.
Yeah.
Where it was lying next to that, wasn't it?
Because that is a marine mount on that, so the whole thing would have been bronze or brass.
Right.
And the under bit is still on it, but what it sat in must have been there somewhere.
Yeah, there is that stand there, isn't there? That's a big circular jobby with a plate on the bottom. Stand's probably about.
Oh, is that still there?
Yeah, the big circular which it must have been mounted on.
Oh right.
Yeah. I remember
Because we
seeing that.
never found that when we bought it
did you?
up. No, I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, that's there.
Oh right.
It's got a big lump. Didn't think it was. Well, I thought it was just steel, but wouldn't be brass, would it? It's a big lump.
The mount might have been.
Yeah, well, the mount, like I say, is probably.
right.
I'm sure it's about like that round at the top.
Oh, I've got some pictures somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, did quite a bit of.
Okay. Well, that's there.
Yeah, did a bit of research on that after we brought that up, but that's gone off to a good home now, officially again. He is a licensed arms dealer, so he's trying to rebuild it.
Right,
He's
excellent.
going to send me a picture of it when it's done, so I'll drop one over to you.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? So, she was wondering if there was another. Is there another ship down here or something? Yeah.
Well,
Is it two?
It says on the Admiralty chart that is Rex in that area. And it's an enormous debris field.
it
isn't
is. It is very.
So whether anything else got sunk on top of it, or
When I found what I believe to have been the duo prop from the torpedo.
oh right, oh
And
that's
I sent it up,
yeah.
and then sent it back down again. So I've got a rough mark where it was. When I went searching for it, it got a way off because it obviously went with the tide. It was right at the end of the tide.
Oh,
I went down there and I just reeled it off, and I got snagged on something. And then it was just a porthole with a brass backing. I got snagged on.
oh brilliant.
Just laying there in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that was a bonus.
Yeah.
I trust you left it there for everyone else to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, because I found a box of them up
Oh,
front where
I've
the
got
conga was.
an inverted cone thing which must have held some sort of cleaning. It's got an arrow on it, so it must be part of the ordnance.
Oh, okay.
And it remains of a lump of wood sticking out the back of it, so it must have been the barrel cleaning kit for it. But,
Good night.
yeah,
That's cool.
good times on that.
Sounds it, yeah.